Hello there, good people. Welcome to It's a Shaw Thing. I'm your host, Rob Shaw, here to talk a little fantasy football. It's Monday, so it's time to discuss 3 players moving up and 3 players moving in the wrong direction. The good guys first. Cedric Benson of the Cincinnati Bengals is clearly moving in the right direction. 29 carries, 141 yards rushing this past weekend. He had 108 total yards the week before with a touchdown. I figured to be a top 15 guy simply because he'd get so many carries. I did not expect him to be a top 10 running back, and that's exactly what he's been so far this year. Bench the Larry Johnsons, the Julius Jones, the Darren McFadden's. Make sure you keep Cedric Benson in your starting lineup. Next up, we go to a wide receiver in Jacksonville. To be a star there, you have to have a couple of names. So for that reason, Mike Walker is now Mike Sims Walker. Make sure you know this guy. He had a big performance last year in Week 5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had 6 receptions for 107 yards. Well, this week he had 6 receptions for 107 yards. But this time it also came with a touchdown. So Mike Sims Walker, a guy you should know. He appears to be the number 2 wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jags. It's not Troy Williamson. So Mike Sims Walker, a guy to consider starting if you're in a very deep league. And finally, another player moving in the right direction. How about Johnny Knox? Not only does he have a great name, not only did he come from absolutely nowhere, but this guy now is going to have some fantasy value because Jay Cutler trusts him. He's putting the ball in his hands. This weekend he scored a touchdown on 70 yards and 6 receptions. Last weekend, 2 receptions for 82 yards. So one of the Bears receivers who's making things happen. Johnny Knox, an easy name to remember. Make sure you have it etched down on your watch players list because he might help you out a couple of weeks down the road. All right, now some guys moving in the wrong direction. This might sound awkward, but Correll Buckhalter, even though he had a great 45-yard touchdown in the 4th quarter for the Broncos, he's actually moving in the wrong direction because there's a serious cut in his playing time this weekend, or at least in his touches. It looks like Knowshon Moreno is going to end up getting a lot of carries sooner than later, so expect Moreno to end up being the more valuable running back. Buckhalter will very soon be on the waiver wire in 90% of fantasy leagues. Next up, Matt Hasselbeck. The guy simply can't stay healthy. He had a great Week 1 performance with 3 touchdowns. In Week number 2, not quite. He was forced to leave just before halftime. He hurt his ribs. He apparently is a little fragile, not the type of guy you want on your team. Consider dropping him. Go ahead, pick up Mark Sanchez of the Jets. Even though he's a rookie, he appears to be putting up some respectable numbers right away. And finally, Brady Quinn of the Cleveland Browns is certainly not a realistic fantasy option. He's been horrible. He turns the ball over like crazy. He's been sacked 9 times already, 2 interceptions so far, 2 fumbles lost so far this year. He couldn't score a touchdown in his most recent performance, and now he gets to go on the road against Baltimore for Week 3. That is not a winning situation. Well, my friends, that's all your fantasy sports analysis for now. Check back here at opensports.com tomorrow for more.